Dianne Feinstein, Senator Dianne Feinstein, she is upset that the CIA might be spying on the Senate. Ironic, because she might have been the one to get us in this mess in the first place. She took it to the Senate floor. Let's take a look.
Questions related to who had authorized and conducted the search and what legal basis the CIA claimed gave it authority to conduct the search. Again, the CIA has not provided answers to any of my questions. My letter also laid out my concern about the legal and constitutional implications of the CIA's actions. Based on what Director Brennan has informed us, I have grave concerns that the CIA's search may well have violated the separation of powers principles embodied in the United States Constitution, including the speech and debate clause. It may have undermined the constitutional framework essential to effective congressional oversight of intelligence activities or any other government function.
Okay, so that's pretty serious stuff if the Senate is spying on the CIA. Of course, she didn't have a problem when the Senate was spying on us. She voted for most of that stuff, if not all of it. CIA Director John Brennan responded to Ms. Feinstein.
The matter is being dealt with in the appropriate way, being looked at by the right authorities, and the facts will come out. But let me assure you that CIA in no way was spying on the SSCI or the Senate. We greatly respect the separation of powers between the executive branch and the legislative branch.
Now, I don't see why we'd have any reason to think that someone in power at the CIA or the NSA might be lying unless it's happened before.
What I wanted to see is if you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
And by not wittingly, of course, we now know he means yes, we did and we do. Okay, so first question, pretty simple out of the gate. Can we trust any of these people? Forget Feinstein for a second. Can we trust any of them when they say what they're doing or what they're not doing?
Well, we clearly have a precedent showing that no, we can't. But one thing I'm kind of in the midst of all this awful lying and going back and forth between branches of government. This is a fight between two different branches of government we would have never seen in the pre-Snowden days. So I'm glad that at least she publicly said, hey, they're spying on us, they're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, so let's get to the separation of powers in a second. Do you think we can trust any of these people? We have Clapper knowingly lied, nothing's happened to him. He's still in all the big meetings, he has not been...
Certainly not. I mean, I think a reasonable expectation of privacy is unreasonable now. I think it's kind of come out now. Now that we have technology, I think it's more visible, that we can see that this is actually happening. We're getting these leaks, whereas in the past, you know, hey, maybe they were spying on us too. So yeah. I just think that maybe now we're more aware of it.
Yeah, so the separation of powers that you brought up, I think is the interesting part of this, because nobody talks about how the government's supposed to work anymore, but we have 3 branches of government that you learn in Politics 101, and they're supposed to keep each other in check. That's the whole point. But when she says that, do regular people hear that and realize what a sort of usurping of power is really going on?
Well, I think previously they would have worked in tandem or kept this quiet, and we're all supposed to just trust our government and know that they have what's best for us in mind. And you know, when they spy on us and breach our security and civil rights, it's okay because it's for the greater good. But maybe not now, huh?
Yeah, you think? You think maybe not? What do you make of the separation of powers part of this? Or have we just dumbed down our society to the point where when people say things like that, I don't think it really breaks through the ether, sort of, and of why it's important to talk about this.
You got to think about our culture in terms of what we do every single day, right? We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're stalking each other, we're spying on each other's private lives and stuff like that. I think the idea that the government is doing it also, it should not be a surprise. What do they have, like probably like Facebook Plus or something, like the paid version, right, where they can like go and dig on you and like figure out what's going on. But I think that people just are not that fazed by it. They expect to be stalked, they expect to be followed, And you know, when you have a president, right, who says, I don't need Congress to do anything, I can just take a pen and, you know, write a bill, and I can bypass. That's right. He can just do whatever he wants. And, you know, I'm not, you know, it doesn't surprise me. It shouldn't surprise any of us.
Yeah. So is the really scary part here that if the CIA is spying on Congress, so spying on another branch of government, what makes us think they're not spying on Obama too? Because, I mean, people are starting to talk about that. We have no reason to think if they went ahead and figured out some legal justification to spy on Congress and the Senate, why not the executive branch too?
What makes you think Obama isn't
in on it in the first place?
On it too.
Well, that's equally scary.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you know, since Obama resigned and Frank Underwood is now president, I think that it's pretty clear that you know, we shouldn't, you know, not expect these kind of things to happen for sure. But you know, it's a whole culture of Washington of like, we're going to be real nice and we're going to tell you all these like pretty things to your face, but then we are going to go, you know, in the back room and then check out your biometrics and figure out exactly where you are and what you're doing and how you're going to vote, so we can then better market to you to figure out, you know, how we can stay in power.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned House of Cards actually, because it seems to me that with all this NSA stuff going on, there's so little trust in government. And then at the same time, House of Cards come out, and of course it's a fictitious show, but everyone keeps saying, oh, it's 90% real. That's what all the pundits say. That's what all the actors say. So it's sort of like we just have no clue what's going on. Should we just give up having any real insight into how this operates and how many people they have to kill and drugs they have to do and marriages they have to ruin to make it happen?
Dave.
We gotta try.
We can do the best we can. You gotta have hope. We do the best we can with what we have, with the information we have. The information we have was probably not so good and probably hidden from us, but I did appreciate the transparency on at least one side here.
Yeah. Is this incredibly disingenuous of Feinstein, who had no problem voting, obviously, for the Patriot Act, but plenty of other, I mean, she knew about the domestic spying, and suddenly it's about her and her computers and her investigation, and now I have some righteous indignation.
Right. Well, hey, what does she have to hide? What do you have to hide, Miss Feinstein? Like, what's going on over there? Are you know, not actually doing any congressional work, or are you just, like, on Etsy all day? You know, I mean, like, I don't know. And,
she's definitely selling things on Etsy.
No, for sure. It seems like she would be the kind of person who does that. But you know, look, like, no, I've never been a big fan. You know, quite honestly, I think that you know, when you look at her voting record, as far as, you know, her hypocritical kind of stance now is really pretty obvious.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people are talking about. So, final thought on this. Is this the type of thing, because it's about the Senate, and if they know one thing, it's self-preservation, is this the type of thing that maybe will push back against the NSA a little bit more? Because they don't really care when it's happening to us, but when it's happening to them, maybe this thing will get it to critical mass, and then you'll have people like Rand Paul, who's been hugely against it. So it's sort of going on both sides of the aisle. So maybe some goodness here?
I do like, well, before, sometimes people had said, oh, well, you're crazy if you think they're spying on you. Don't be paranoid. Don't be delusional. It's not paranoid delusion, especially if we have a known hypocrite in public office telling us this is happening.
Yeah. Hypocrite in public office. Can you believe it?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Shocking.
I think that, you know, from a public standpoint, it's up to us to actually care about, you know. And if we start banging the drum and we say, like, hey, we're not going to stand for this. This is ridiculous. Then we'll get sort of, you know, maybe some good stuff happening there.